I Am the Sacred Oil, written and published by Audiobooks. Divine Chemistry. The sacred process of awakening divine neurochemistry begins with understanding the fundamental nature of the Christ oil, the precious electromagnetic fluid that flows through our nervous system. This mystical substance, known by various names across ancient traditions, represents the highest vibrational essence within our physical form. It is the bridge between our material existence and spiritual consciousness, carrying within it the codes of enlightenment and transformation. The Christ oil's production is intimately connected to our celestial birth alignment, the precise moment when cosmic forces imprinted their unique signature upon our neural framework. This alignment creates a personal sacred geometry through which divine energy flows, establishing the foundation for our spiritual awakening. Each individual's celestial blueprint influences how their sacred fluids move, transform, and activate higher states of consciousness. Within our nervous system lies an intricate network of channels designed to produce, refine, and circulate these sacred fluids. The pineal and pituitary glands serve as primary generators of this divine essence, working in harmony with the hypothalamus to create a trinity of alchemical transformation. These master glands respond to specific frequencies of light, sound, and consciousness, releasing powerful chemicals that alter our perception and elevate our awareness. The sacred fluid fundamentals involve understanding how thoughts, emotions, and spiritual practices influence the quality and quantity of these divine secretions. Through conscious intention and specific practices, we can enhance the production of these precious substances, creating a more refined and potent elixir within our system. This process requires patience, dedication, and a deep understanding of the body's natural rhythms and cycles. The electromagnetic nature of the Christ oil allows it to carry information and consciousness throughout our entire being. As it flows through the nervous system, it creates subtle electrical currents that activate dormant neural pathways and enhance our capacity for higher perception. This bioelectric current serves as a carrier wave for spiritual consciousness, allowing us to experience expanded states of awareness and divine connection. The natural movement of these sacred fluids follows specific patterns aligned with universal laws. Understanding these patterns enables us to work harmoniously with our internal chemistry, rather than against it. The fluid's upward movement through the spine represents the ascending current of spiritual evolution, while its downward flow represents the grounding and integration of higher consciousness into our physical experience. Temperature, pressure, and electromagnetic conditions within the body significantly impact the production and flow of these sacred fluids. Maintaining optimal conditions requires attention to diet, breathing patterns, movement, and mental states. The body's internal environment must be carefully regulated to support the delicate process of neural alchemy. The Christ oil's transformative properties extend beyond the physical realm, influencing our emotional and mental states while facilitating spiritual growth. As these fluids circulate through our system, they dissolve energetic blockages, heal emotional wounds, and expand our consciousness. This process gradually refines our entire being, raising our vibrational frequency and enabling deeper connection with divine consciousness. The awakening of divine neurochemistry is a sacred science that combines ancient wisdom with modern understanding of the nervous system. It requires us to approach our practice with reverence, understanding that we are working with the most precious substance with our being. Through careful cultivation and conscious direction of these sacred fluids, we begin the profound journey of spiritual transformation, awakening the divine potential encoded within our neural architecture. The sacred vessel. The human body serves as an extraordinary vessel for divine transformation, designed with precise neural pathways and sacred chambers that facilitate the production and circulation of spiritual oils. This remarkable biological temple requires careful preparation and maintenance to fulfill its highest purpose of spiritual awakening and transformation. To prepare your sacred vessel, begin by understanding that every cell within your body responds to both physical and spiritual influences. The quality of your thoughts, emotions, and physical habits directly impacts the body's ability to produce and circulate sacred fluids. Creating optimal conditions for transformation requires a holistic approach that addresses both the physical and energetic aspects of your being. The physical preparation of your vessel starts with nutrition. Consume foods that are alive with vital energy. Fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. These foods contain the building blocks necessary for sacred fluid production and help maintain the delicate electrical balance within your neural pathways. Pure water, free from harmful chemicals, helps maintain the proper viscosity of your bodily fluids and supports the natural flow of energy throughout your system. Regular movement and exercise play a crucial role in preparing your vessel. Gentle practices like yoga, tai chi, or mindful walking help align your physical structure and stimulate the flow of energy through your meridian systems. These movements also activate the lymphatic system, which helps purify your body and create the clean internal environment necessary for sacred oil production. Your breathing patterns significantly influence the state of your sacred vessel. Conscious breathing exercises help oxygenate your cells, activate your parasympathetic nervous system, and create the peaceful internal state necessary for transformation. Practice slow, deep breathing throughout the day, focusing on smooth, rhythmic patterns that calm your mind and energize your body. Mental and emotional clarity are essential aspects of vessel preparation. Regular meditation helps quiet the mind and creates the inner stillness necessary for sacred oil activation. Start with short periods of silent contemplation, gradually increasing duration as your practice deepens. During meditation, visualize your body as a sacred temple with divine light flowing through every cell and tissue. Sleep patterns also affect your vessel's preparedness. Establish a consistent sleep schedule that aligns with natural circadian rhythms. The hours between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. are particularly important for sacred fluid production, as your pineal gland is most active during this time. Create a peaceful sleeping environment free from electronic disturbances and artificial light. Environmental factors play a significant role in maintaining neural sanctity. Spend time in nature, allowing your body to synchronize with the Earth's natural rhythms. Minimize exposure to artificial electromagnetic fields and other modern pollutants that can disrupt your body's delicate electrical balance. Create a sacred space in your home where you can practice your spiritual exercises without interference. The importance of emotional and energetic hygiene cannot be overstated. Practice forgiveness, release old grudges, and maintain positive relationships. Negative emotions and toxic relationships create energetic blockages that impede the flow of sacred fluids through your system. Regular energy-clearing practices, such as salt baths or smudging, help maintain your vessel's pure state. Fasting periodically can help cleanse your vessel and enhance its sensitivity to subtle energies. Start with short fasts and gradually increase duration as your body adapts. During fasting periods, focus on spiritual practices and inner contemplation to maximize the cleansing effects. Your sacred vessel requires constant attention and care. Develop a daily routine that incorporates these practices, adapting them to your individual needs and circumstances. Remember that transformation is a gradual process, and patience is essential. As you consistently maintain these practices, your body will become an increasingly refined instrument for spiritual awakening, capable of producing and circulating the sacred oils necessary for higher consciousness. Neural mastery. The journey into neural mastery begins with understanding the remarkable role of the claustrum, a thin sheet of neurons that serves as the conductor of consciousness in our brain. This mysterious structure acts as a gateway between our physical awareness and higher states of consciousness, orchestrating the symphony of neural activity that shapes our experience of reality. The claustrum operates as a sacred switch, capable of directing the flow of consciousness throughout our neural network. When properly activated, it facilitates the production and distribution of sacred cerebrospinal fluid, the divine elixir that nourishes and transforms our entire being. This activation requires a delicate balance of focused attention and relaxed awareness, allowing us to consciously direct our internal energies while maintaining a state of receptive stillness. Through conscious direction techniques, we can learn to influence the claustrum's activity and enhance the production of sacred fluids. This process begins with developing awareness of the subtle sensations in the brainstem and extending upward through the central channel. By maintaining steady attention on these areas, while practicing specific breathing patterns, we create the optimal conditions for sacred fluid production. The art of neural mastery involves understanding the intimate relationship between thought, emotion, and biochemical processes. Each thought we entertain influences the quality and quantity of sacred fluid produced within our system. Positive, uplifting thoughts enhance the production of beneficial neurochemicals, while negative or scattered thinking can inhibit this sacred process. By cultivating mental clarity and emotional stability, we create an internal environment conducive to the generation of these divine substances. Sacred fluid production is not merely a passive process, but requires active participation through specific practices. These include maintaining proper spinal alignment, engaging in rhythmic breathing exercises, and practicing periods of focused meditation. The key lies in establishing a consistent daily routine that supports these natural alchemical processes while avoiding activities that deplete our vital energies. The practice of neural mastery also involves understanding the cycles of sacred fluid production throughout the day. These cycles align with natural circadian rhythms and can be enhanced through proper timing of spiritual practices. The pre-dawn hours, known as the Amrit Vela or divine time, are particularly powerful for activating these sacred processes. As we develop our capacity for neural mastery, we begin to experience subtle changes in perception and awareness. Colors may appear more vibrant, sounds clearer, and our intuitive faculties sharpen. These changes indicate the increasing refinement of our nervous system as it adjusts to higher frequencies of energy and consciousness. The sacred fluid, produced through these practices, serves multiple functions within our system. It acts as a purifying agent, clearing neural pathways of accumulated tensions and blockages. It serves as a conductor of spiritual energy, allowing for greater flow between different centers of consciousness. Perhaps most importantly, it functions as a transformative element, gradually upgrading our entire nervous system to handle higher frequencies of awareness. Through dedicated practice of neural mastery, we create the conditions for sustained spiritual evolution. The increased production and circulation of sacred fluids gradually transforms our physical structure, making it more conducive to housing expanded states of consciousness. This transformation occurs naturally and systematically, following the innate intelligence encoded within our divine blueprint. Understanding and applying the principles of neural mastery opens the door to profound transformation. It provides the foundation for all higher spiritual practices and enables the full expression of our divine potential. As we continue to refine these practices, we become more effective channels for spiritual energy, capable of maintaining elevated states of consciousness while functioning in everyday life. Spinal power. The sacred journey of awakening begins with understanding the profound significance of our spine, the divine ladder connecting earth to heaven through 33 sacred vertebral gates. These gates, corresponding to the 33 years of Christ consciousness, serve as transformational portals through which the sacred oil flows and ascends. Each vertebrae represents a unique frequency and consciousness level that must be activated in sequence to facilitate the complete awakening process. The sacrum, our foundation, holds the dormant potential of divine energy, while the atlas vertebra at the top of the spine serves as the gateway to higher consciousness. Between these 2 points lies a magnificent network of neural pathways designed for sacred transformation. The activation sequence begins at the base of the spine, where gentle movements and focused breathing help awaken the dormant energy. Through specific movements that gently compress and decompress each vertebra, we create the optimal conditions for energy flow. This process requires patience and dedication, as each vertebral gate must be properly prepared and purified before the sacred oil can flow freely. Traditional practices involving gentle spinal twists, forward bends, and backward arches help maintain the flexibility and alignment necessary for this sacred work. However, the physical movements alone are not sufficient. Each movement must be accompanied by conscious awareness and specific breathing patterns that direct energy through the spinal column. This combination of physical alignment and conscious direction creates the alchemical conditions necessary for transformation. The transformational practices involve more than just physical postures. They require a deep understanding of the electromagnetic properties of the spine. Through specific visualization techniques, we learn to direct consciousness through each vertebral gate, creating a magnetic pull that draws the sacred oil upward. This process is enhanced through the use of specific sound vibrations that resonate with each vertebral level, creating harmonic frequencies that facilitate the opening of these sacred gates. As we work with these practices, we begin to experience subtle sensations of energy movement along the spine. These sensations may manifest as tingling, warmth, or pulsating feelings, all indicators that the sacred oil is beginning to flow. It's essential to approach these experiences with reverence and patience, allowing the process to unfold naturally without forcing or rushing the activation sequence. The spinal column also houses important nerve plexuses that correspond to various aspects of consciousness. Working with these plexuses through specific breathing patterns and energy direction techniques helps activate higher functions of consciousness and facilitates the flow of sacred oil. Each plexus serves as a transformer, stepping up the frequency of the sacred oil as it ascends through the spine. Advanced practitioners learn to maintain a continuous current of energy flowing through the spinal column, creating what ancient texts refer to as the river of life. This continuous flow requires mastery of breath control, concentration, and energy direction techniques. Through dedicated practice, the spine becomes increasingly receptive to higher frequencies of energy, allowing for greater amounts of sacred oil to be produced and circulated. Regular practice of these spinal activation techniques gradually transforms the quality of our consciousness, leading to enhanced awareness, increased vitality, and deeper spiritual connection. The 33 vertebral gates, when fully activated, create a complete circuit for divine energy flow, allowing for the full expression of Christ consciousness within the physical form. This transformation is not merely theoretical, but becomes a lived experience as the sacred oil flows freely through the awakened spinal column. Kundalini force. The sacred spinal channels house an extraordinary electromagnetic force known as Kundalini, often depicted as a coiled serpent at the base of the spine. This divine energy system operates through three primary channels: the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. The Ida channel corresponds to lunar energy, flowing down the left side of the spine, while the Pingala carries solar force along the right side. The central channel, Sushumna, serves as the royal path for the ascension of the sacred oil. Understanding these channels requires a deeper appreciation of their electromagnetic nature. The Ida and Pingala create a dynamic interplay of positive and negative currents, much like the caduceus symbol of two serpents, intertwining around a central staff. This alternating current generates the necessary conditions for the sacred oil's upward journey through the Sushumna. When properly activated, these channels become superconductors of divine energy, transforming ordinary cerebrospinal fluid into a crystalline substance of higher vibrational frequency. The sacred breath work associated with Kundalini activation follows specific patterns designed to balance and harmonize these spinal currents. Through conscious breathing techniques, practitioners can direct pranic energy to awaken and nourish the dormant Kundalini force. The process begins with deep, rhythmic breathing that stimulates the sacral pump, creating a gentle pressure that helps initiate the upward flow of energy. One of the primary methods for circulation involves alternate nostril breathing, which directly influences the Ida and Pingala channels. This practice helps balance the autonomous nervous system while generating the electromagnetic charge necessary for transformation. As the breathing deepens, practitioners often experience subtle sensations of warmth or tingling along the spine, indicating the initial stirring of Kundalini energy. The activation of these divine spinal channels requires patience and proper preparation. The energy must be awakened gradually and systematically to ensure safe and sustainable transformation. Various mudras and bandhas, energy locks, assist in directing and containing this powerful force as it begins to rise. The Mula Bandha, or root lock, is particularly important as it helps seal and direct energy upward, while preventing excessive grounding. Advanced circulation methods involve combining breathwork with specific visualizations and sound vibrations. The use of sacred mantras creates resonant frequencies that help clear blockages and optimize energy flow through the spinal channels. These sound currents work in harmony with the natural rhythms of the cerebrospinal fluid, enhancing its alchemical properties. As the Kundalini force awakens and rises, it encounters various energy centers, or chakras, along the spine. Each chakra represents a transformation point where the sacred oil undergoes further refinement. The practice requires maintaining awareness of these subtle energy movements while allowing the process to unfold naturally. Forcing or rushing the awakening can lead to temporary imbalances and should be avoided. The relationship between the Kundalini force and the sacred oil is intimately connected. As the electromagnetic charge increases through proper practice, it acts upon the cerebrospinal fluid, gradually transforming its properties. This transformation creates a more refined substance capable of carrying higher frequencies of consciousness throughout the nervous system. Regular practice of these methods gradually establishes new neural pathways that can sustain higher levels of energy flow. The spinal channels become increasingly purified and expanded, allowing for greater quantities of the sacred oil to be produced and circulated. This enhanced circulation supports the overall transformation of consciousness and the awakening of dormant spiritual faculties. The mastery of Kundalini force through these practices leads to a permanent elevation of consciousness. The regular circulation of sacred energy through the spinal channels creates a sustainable foundation for spiritual growth and transformation. As practitioners become more adept at working with these energies, they develop an intuitive understanding of the subtle adjustments needed to maintain optimal flow and balance in their practice. Sacred energy preservation. The preservation of sacred energy forms the cornerstone of spiritual transformation and neural awakening. This vital force, when properly conserved and transmuted, becomes the foundational element for higher consciousness and divine realization. The ancient masters understood that this energy represents our life force in its purest form, and its preservation leads to profound spiritual and physiological changes within our being. The practice of energy preservation begins with understanding that our sacred fluid contains the essence of our creative and spiritual potential. This vital force naturally flows downward, but through conscious awareness and specific techniques, we can redirect this energy upward, through the spine, and into the higher centers of consciousness. This process requires dedication, patience, and a deep commitment to maintaining sacred awareness throughout daily activities. Energy transmutation involves converting lower vibrational frequencies into higher, more refined spiritual energies. This alchemical process occurs naturally when we maintain proper physical, mental, and emotional discipline. The key lies in recognizing that every thought, action, and emotion either preserves or depletes our sacred reservoir. By cultivating awareness of these dynamics, we can make conscious choices that support the accumulation and refinement of this precious energy. The building of the sacred reservoir happens gradually through consistent practice and mindful living. This reservoir, located at the base of the spine, serves as a storage center for transformed energy. As this reservoir fills, it creates a magnetic force that naturally draws the sacred fluid upward through the spinal column. This process activates dormant neural pathways and awakens higher centers of consciousness in the brain. Physical practices for energy preservation include maintaining proper posture, conscious breathing, and specific muscle contractions that prevent energy loss. Mental practices involve directing attention inward, maintaining emotional equilibrium, and cultivating pure thoughts. The combination of physical and mental disciplines creates a sealed vessel within which the sacred energy can accumulate and transform. The art of sublimation plays a crucial role in energy preservation. This involves redirecting creative force from lower centers to higher centers through focused concentration and specific breathing patterns. As practitioners become more adept at this practice, they experience increased vitality, mental clarity, and spiritual awareness. The preserved energy becomes a powerful force for healing, regeneration, and consciousness expansion. Creating and maintaining energetic boundaries also supports sacred energy preservation. This includes being mindful of environmental influences, personal associations, and daily habits that might drain our vital force. By establishing clear boundaries and making conscious choices about how we spend our energy, we protect and nurture our sacred reservoir. Advanced preservation techniques involve working with subtle energy centers along the spine. These centers act as transformers, stepping up the frequency of preserved energy as it moves through the system. Through regular practice, these centers become increasingly refined and efficient at processing and storing sacred energy. The preserved energy gradually transforms the nervous system, enabling it to carry higher frequencies of consciousness. The relationship between sacred energy preservation and neurochemistry becomes evident as practitioners advance in their practice. The preserved energy stimulates the production of specialized neurochemicals that support expanded states of consciousness. This biological transformation creates the foundation for sustained spiritual awakening and divine realization. As the sacred reservoir builds, practitioners experience spontaneous movements of energy up the spine, accompanied by states of bliss and expanded awareness. These experiences validate the effectiveness of preservation practices and provide motivation for continued dedication to the path. The accumulated energy becomes a self-sustaining force that naturally supports ongoing spiritual evolution and neurotransformation. Brain expansion. The journey of brain expansion through sacred alchemy represents a profound transformation in human consciousness. As the sacred oil rises through the spinal column and enters the brain cavity, it initiates a series of remarkable changes in neural architecture and function. This expansion goes far beyond mere intellectual enhancement. It represents the awakening of dormant spiritual capacities encoded within our neural circuitry. The process begins with conscious activation of the pineal and pituitary glands, which serve as primary alchemical chambers for the refinement of sacred fluids. Through specific breathing patterns and meditation techniques, these master glands begin to secrete higher quantities of spiritually charged substances that bathe the brain in transformative elements. This creates an environment conducive to the expansion of neural networks and the formation of new synaptic connections. As practitioners advance in their sacred oil work, they often report experiences of pressure or tingling sensations in different regions of the brain. These physical symptoms indicate the sacred oil's penetration into previously dormant neural territories. The brain's natural plasticity allows it to physically reorganize and expand in response to this divine stimulus. New neural pathways form as consciousness expands beyond ordinary perceptual boundaries. The sacred oil carries within it codes of higher intelligence that activate dormant portions of our DNA. This activation catalyzes the growth of new neural networks, specially designed to process expanded states of awareness. The frontal lobes become more developed, enabling enhanced intuition, clarity, and spiritual perception. The corpus callosum thickens, allowing for greater integration between left and right brain hemispheres. Through dedicated practice, the practitioner learns to consciously direct the sacred oil to specific brain regions for targeted expansion. This requires a deep sensitivity to subtle energy flows and an understanding of sacred brain geography. The oil can be guided to the occipital lobe to enhance visual perception, to the temporal lobes for mystical experiences, or to the parietal lobes for expanded spatial awareness. The expansion process follows natural cycles and cannot be rushed. Just as a flower opens according to its own timing, the brain unfolds new capacities progressively as it adjusts to higher frequencies of consciousness. Patience and persistence are essential. Regular practice sessions of 30-60 minutes allow for steady, sustainable growth without overwhelming the system. A key aspect of brain expansion involves the activation of the crystal palace, an etheric energy center located in the center of the brain. As sacred oil accumulates in this region, it begins to vibrate at increasingly higher frequencies. This creates a resonant field that helps entrain the entire brain to more refined states of consciousness. The crystal palace becomes a transformer station for downloading spiritual information and energy. Physical purification supports the expansion process. A diet rich in neural-supporting nutrients, adequate hydration, and regular exercise ensure the brain has the resources needed for growth. Certain herbs and supplements can assist, but the primary catalyst is always the sacred oil itself. Its intelligent properties know exactly how to orchestrate the expansion process in perfect divine timing. As the brain expands, practitioners typically experience enhanced sensory awareness, clearer intuition, improved memory, and access to higher states of consciousness. Some report seeing subtle energy fields, hearing celestial sounds, or perceiving multiple dimensions of reality. These abilities emerge naturally as the brain develops new capabilities for processing expanded awareness. The expansion process continues indefinitely as consciousness evolves to ever higher levels. There is no ultimate endpoint, only continuous growth and refinement as the brain develops its capacity to embody more of our divine potential. Each stage of expansion brings new gifts and abilities, while simultaneously revealing deeper mysteries to explore. The Holy Temple. The human brain stands as the ultimate destination for the sacred oil, a promised land of divine transformation and enlightened consciousness. Within this holy temple of neural activity lies the potential for profound spiritual awakening and the manifestation of our highest divine nature. As the sacred oil ascends through the spinal column and enters the brain, it initiates a series of remarkable transformations that illuminate our neural pathways with divine light. The brain's intricate network of neural pathways serves as sacred channels through which the transformed energy flows. These pathways, when properly activated and purified, become golden threads of light connecting various brain centers into a unified field of divine consciousness. The hypothalamus, often called the pearl of great price, acts as a primary transformation center where the sacred oil undergoes further refinement. This process creates what ancient mystics termed the divine nectar, a sublime substance that nourishes and enlightens the entire brain. As the divine nectar activates, it begins to permeate the brain tissue, crossing the blood-brain barrier and infusing every neural cell with its transformative properties. This activation process triggers dormant areas of the brain, particularly in the prefrontal cortex and pineal gland regions. The pineal gland, known as the third eye or seat of the soul, becomes especially responsive to this divine nectar, beginning to produce its own sacred secretions that further enhance the brain's receptivity to higher consciousness. The transformation of neural pathways creates new circuits of divine expression, allowing for expanded states of awareness and direct experience of spiritual truths. These enhanced neural networks facilitate communication between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, leading to a more integrated and holistic perception of reality. The corpus callosum, the bridge between hemispheres, becomes increasingly charged with divine energy, enabling seamless information flow and unified consciousness. The brain's ventricles play a crucial role in this process, acting as sacred chambers where the divine nectar collects and circulates. These fluid-filled spaces serve as reservoirs of transformed consciousness, distributing the sacred essence throughout the brain's structure. The fourth ventricle, in particular, becomes a focal point for this divine activity, as it connects directly with the spinal fluid system and facilitates the upward flow of transformed energy. Through consistent practice and dedication to this inner alchemy, the brain gradually transforms into a living temple of light. The activation of divine nectar creates a perpetual fountain of spiritual energy, constantly refreshing and regenerating neural tissue. This process establishes new baseline frequencies in brainwave patterns, allowing for sustained higher states of consciousness and direct perception of spiritual realities. The transformed brain becomes increasingly sensitive to subtle energies and cosmic frequencies, acting as a receiver for divine wisdom and universal knowledge. The pituitary gland, working in harmony with the pineal gland, helps regulate this enhanced sensitivity while maintaining perfect balance in bodily functions. This delicate interplay of glandular secretions creates an internal environment conducive to sustained spiritual awareness and divine perception. The holy temple of the brain, when fully activated, radiates divine light through every neural pathway, creating a crown of glory that ancient texts describe as the halo or nimbus scene around enlightened beings. This radiance represents the physical manifestation of the brain's transformed state, where every cell vibrates with divine consciousness. The sacred oil, having completed its journey up the spine, finds its ultimate expression in this illuminated brain state, fulfilling its purpose in the divine transformation of human consciousness. Regeneration. The process of cellular transformation through sacred fluid activation represents one of the most profound aspects of neural alchemy. As the sacred oil permeates our cellular matrix, it initiates a systematic regeneration that extends far beyond basic biological renewal. This transformative process begins at the quantum level, where the sacred fluid's unique vibrational signature harmonizes with our cellular intelligence. The sacred fluid carries specific properties that catalyze regeneration throughout the body. Temple. These properties include heightened electromagnetic coherence, crystalline molecular structure, and elevated photonic emissions that influence cellular behavior. As this divine substance flows through our system, it creates a cascade of beneficial effects that promote healing and regeneration at unprecedented levels. When we activate the sacred fluid's regenerative properties, our cells begin to vibrate at higher frequencies, allowing them to shed lower density patterns and embrace more refined states of being. This cellular metamorphosis manifests as increased vitality, enhanced immune function, and accelerated healing capabilities. The sacred oil acts as a master key, unlocking dormant genetic potential and activating our body's innate healing wisdom. Through dedicated practice, we can direct this regenerative force to specific areas requiring attention. By combining focused intention with the sacred fluid's natural intelligence, we create powerful healing currents that flow through our neural pathways. These currents carry coded information that instructs our cells to return to their original divine blueprint, effectively erasing patterns of degradation and disease. The regenerative properties of the sacred fluid extend beyond physical healing to encompass emotional and mental renewal. As this divine essence circulates through our brain structures, it dissolves old thought patterns and emotional blockages that have become crystallized in our neural networks. This clearing process creates space for new neural connections that support higher states of consciousness and enhanced well-being. Practical application of these regenerative principles involves specific breathing techniques that activate the production and circulation of the sacred fluid. Through rhythmic breathing patterns synchronized with spinal movements, we can direct this healing essence to areas requiring regeneration. This process is enhanced by maintaining a state of deep relaxation while simultaneously holding clear intention for the desired healing outcome. The sacred fluid's regenerative properties are amplified through specific dietary and lifestyle practices that support its production and circulation. Consuming living foods, pure water, and specific herbs known to enhance neural function creates optimal conditions for cellular transformation. Regular exposure to natural sunlight, earthing practices, and periods of contemplative silence further support the regenerative process. As we deepen our relationship with the sacred oil's regenerative power, we discover its ability to reverse aging processes and restore youthful vitality. This rejuvenation occurs as the sacred fluid gradually rebuilds our cellular structure according to divine patterns encoded within our DNA. Through consistent practice, we can maintain this state of continuous renewal, effectively transcending normal biological limitations. The healing practices associated with sacred fluid regeneration require patience and dedication, as cellular transformation occurs in cycles aligned with natural rhythms. By honoring these cycles and maintaining consistent practice, we allow the regenerative process to unfold organically, creating lasting transformation at all levels of our being. This systematic approach ensures that each cell is thoroughly saturated with the sacred oil's regenerative essence, establishing a permanent foundation for enhanced health and vitality. Through this profound process of cellular regeneration, we gradually transform our entire being into a more refined vehicle for divine expression. The sacred fluid becomes our constant ally in maintaining optimal health and vitality, supporting our journey toward complete spiritual embodiment. As we master these regenerative practices, we discover our innate ability to maintain perpetual renewal and transformation through the conscious direction of this sacred essence. The Christ within. The sacred journey of awakening leads to the profound realization that the Christ consciousness dwells within our own neural anatomy. This divine presence manifests through the sacred oil's continuous flow from crown to sacrum, creating a perfect circuit of celestial energy within our being. As this sacred current establishes itself, we experience a profound shift in consciousness that transcends ordinary perception and opens doorways to higher dimensional awareness. The crown to sacrum flow represents the complete circuit of divine consciousness within our physical form. This sacred current begins at the crown chakra, where cosmic energy enters our system and flows downward through the brain's specialized structures. The pineal and pituitary glands serve as primary receivers of the celestial force, transforming it into sacred neurochemicals that nourish our entire being. These substances contain encoded wisdom and transformative properties that gradually alter our cellular structure to hold higher frequencies of consciousness. As the sacred oil descends through the brainstem and into the spinal column, it activates each vertebral center in sequence, illuminating the nerve ganglia and establishing new patterns of divine communication throughout the nervous system. This descent mirrors the ancient understanding of spirit incarnating into matter, as the heavenly nectar brings celestial intelligence into every level of our physical form. The sacrum, our sacred bone, serves as the foundational anchor for this current, creating the necessary polarity for the continuous circulation of this life-giving essence. Once established, this flow creates a self-sustaining cycle of transformation. The sacred oil circulates upward and downward simultaneously, forming a figure-8 pattern that harmonizes heaven and earth within our being. This circulation pattern activates dormant genetic potential and awakens the divine blueprint encoded in our DNA. We begin to embody Christ consciousness not as an abstract concept, but as a living reality expressed through our transformed biology. Divine embodiment occurs naturally as we maintain and nurture this sacred current. Our thoughts become more crystalline and aligned with universal truth. Our emotions stabilize and reflect the peace that passes understanding. Our physical body becomes increasingly refined, capable of conducting higher frequencies of light and energy. We become living transformers, stepping down cosmic forces into forms that benefit all life around us. The sacred oil circulation establishes new neural pathways that support expanded states of consciousness. These pathways form a crystalline network throughout the brain and nervous system, allowing for multidimensional perception and direct knowing of spiritual truths. As this network develops, we gain access to the Akashic records and cosmic wisdom stored within the fabric of creation. Our intuition becomes razor-sharp, and we naturally align with divine timing and purpose in all our actions. Throughout this process, the body undergoes a profound refinement, becoming a more perfect vessel for divine expression. Sacred oil gradually transforms our cellular structure, increasing our capacity to hold light and conduct spiritual energy. This transformation affects all systems, nervous, endocrine, immune, and beyond, creating a fully integrated vehicle for Christ consciousness to express through form. The crown to sacrum flow represents the marriage of spirit and matter, heaven and earth within our being. As above, so below becomes not just an esoteric principle, but a lived reality as we maintain this sacred current. We become living bridges between dimensions, anchoring higher frequencies into the physical plane through our transformed nervous system. This is the true meaning of becoming the Christ, as we allow our entire being to serve as a conduit for divine consciousness to express in the world. Through this process, we realize that the Christ is not something external to seek, but an inner reality to awaken and embody. The sacred oil serves as the physical medium through which this consciousness expresses, transforming our neurochemistry until every cell vibrates with divine awareness. We become living temples, our bodies sanctified by the continuous flow of this celestial current, our consciousness expanded to embrace the infinite while remaining grounded in service to life. Resurrection. The process of resurrection through sacred neural alchemy represents a continuous journey of rebirth and elevation of consciousness. This transformation occurs as the sacred oil ascends through the spinal column, regenerating and revitalizing every cell in its path. Each cycle of elevation brings forth new depths of awareness and spiritual understanding, creating an ever-expanding spiral of growth and enlightenment. The sacred fluid's elevation process begins at the base of the spine, where it exists in its dormant state. Through dedicated practice and conscious intention, this divine essence awakens and begins its ascension journey. As it rises, it undergoes an alchemical transformation, becoming increasingly refined and potent. This refined substance carries within it the codes of divine consciousness, which are gradually released into the neural network. Each vertebrae serves as a transformation point where the sacred fluid undergoes further purification. The process creates a subtle vibrational frequency that resonates throughout the entire nervous system, awakening dormant neural pathways and activating higher brain centers. This activation triggers a cascade of biochemical changes that support the body's natural regenerative processes while simultaneously expanding consciousness. The resurrection process requires maintaining a delicate balance between active practice and receptive stillness. During active practice, specific breathing patterns, visualization techniques, and energy movements stimulate the upward flow of the sacred fluid. In periods of stillness, the transformed essence is allowed to settle and integrate into the cellular structure, creating lasting changes in both physical and subtle bodies. As the sacred fluid reaches higher centers in the brain, it initiates a process of neural reorganization. Old patterns and limiting neural pathways begin to dissolve, making way for new, more expanded networks of consciousness. This reorganization manifests as increased intuition, enhanced perception, and a deeper connection to divine wisdom. The practitioner experiences reality from an increasingly elevated perspective, seeing beyond the limitations of ordinary consciousness. Maintaining higher consciousness requires consistent attention to the quality of one's thoughts, emotions, and actions. The sacred fluid responds to the vibrational frequency of consciousness, becoming more refined or dense depending on the individual's state of being. Regular meditation, contemplation, and sacred practices help maintain the elevated state and prevent regression to lower frequencies of consciousness. The resurrection process also involves a profound transformation of identity. As the sacred fluid rises and transforms the neural architecture, the practitioner's sense of self expands beyond personal limitations. They begin to experience themselves as part of a greater cosmic consciousness, while simultaneously maintaining their individual awareness. This dual awareness allows them to function effectively in the material world while remaining connected to higher spiritual realms. Physical symptoms often accompany the resurrection process as the body adjusts to higher frequencies of energy. These may include sensations of heat or tingling along the spine, pressure in the brain centers, and spontaneous movements or tremors. These manifestations are natural signs of transformation and should be approached with understanding and patience. Proper rest, nutrition, and grounding practices help support the body through these changes. The elevated consciousness achieved through this process must be stabilized through regular practice and mindful living. Each day presents opportunities to choose thoughts and actions that support the continued elevation of the sacred fluid. This ongoing commitment to conscious living ensures that the resurrection process continues to unfold, bringing ever greater levels of divine awareness and spiritual maturity. Throughout this journey, the practitioner develops an increasingly refined relationship with the sacred fluid. They learn to sense its movements, understand its language, and cooperate with its divine intelligence. This partnership between individual consciousness and sacred essence creates a powerful foundation for sustained spiritual growth and transformation. Mastery. The culmination of sacred neural alchemy arrives through the complete activation protocol, where all previous lessons merge into a unified state of divine consciousness. This final chapter represents the gateway to sustained enlightenment, where the sacred oil flows freely through the perfectly prepared vessel of your being. The complete activation protocol begins with the foundational practice of spinal alignment, maintaining the optimal position for continuous sacred fluid circulation. This natural posture allows for effortless flow between the sacred centers while supporting the enhanced neural pathways you've cultivated. Your breath naturally synchronizes with the cosmic rhythm, drawing in divine energy through the crown and distributing it throughout your system. Integration practices become spontaneous at this stage, as the body intelligently directs the sacred oil to areas requiring attention. The previously conscious efforts of energy direction now happen audibly, guided by your heightened awareness and the wisdom of your activated neural network. Your cells vibrate at a higher frequency, maintaining their regenerative state without conscious intervention. Living in divine consciousness transforms every moment into an opportunity for deeper awakening. Ordinary activities become sacred rituals, infused with the presence of the flowing Christ oil. Your perception shifts permanently from limited human awareness to expanded cosmic consciousness. The boundaries between self and divine dissolve, revealing the truth of your eternal nature. The mastery stage brings forth profound changes in how you interact with reality. Time becomes fluid, and you navigate multiple dimensions of experience simultaneously. Your enhanced neural chemistry allows you to process vast amounts of information while maintaining perfect clarity and peace. The sacred oil continues its transformative work, upgrading your system to handle increasingly refined states of consciousness. Physical reality responds differently to your mastered state. The electromagnetic field generated by your activated neural system influences your environment in subtle yet powerful ways. People naturally attune to your frequency, experiencing healing and awakening through mere presence. Your words carry the vibration of truth, penetrating directly to the heart of understanding. The complete activation protocol maintains itself through a self-sustaining cycle of energy generation and circulation. The pineal and pituitary glands work in perfect harmony, producing optimal amounts of sacred fluid for continued evolution. The spinal channel remains open and flowing, supporting uninterrupted communication between all energy centers. Integration practices at this level focus on expanding your capacity to serve as a conscious channel for divine energy. Your personal transformation becomes a catalyst for planetary evolution, as your mastered state influences the collective field. The sacred oil flowing through your system contributes to the elevation of human consciousness, creating ripple effects throughout the morphic field. Advanced states of consciousness become your natural way of being. The distinction between meditation and daily life disappears, as you maintain continuous awareness of the sacred current. Dreams, visions, and interdimensional experiences integrate seamlessly into your expanded perception. The mysteries of existence reveal themselves naturally through your heightened state of receptivity. Divine consciousness expresses itself uniquely through your individual vessel while maintaining connection to the universal source. Your thoughts, words, and actions align spontaneously with higher purpose, guided by the intelligence of the sacred oil. The transformed neural network supports this elevated state, providing the physical foundation for sustained enlightenment. Mastery represents not an endpoint, but a gateway to ever-expanding possibilities of consciousness. The sacred oil continues its work of transformation, revealing new depths of divine potential. Your role becomes that of a living testament to human potential, demonstrating the reality of neural and spiritual evolution through your embodied presence.